every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Thank you for joining me again on CoreTV News on the hour. I am Frank Omalape. President Goodluck Jonathan has declared a total war against terrorism as the country's security forces step up efforts to rescue more than 200 schoolgirls kidnapped by the deadly Islamic sect Boko Haram 45 days ago. Jonathan says he is committed to protecting the nation's democracy, unity and stability in an address marking 15 years since the return to civilian rule in Africa's most populous country and largest economy.
I am determined to protect our democracy, our national unity and our political stability by waging a total war against terrorism. The unity and stability of our country and the protection of lives and property are non-negotiable. I have instructed our security forces to launch a full-scale operation to put an end to the impunity of terrorists on our soil. The war against terror may be difficult, but the days of peace will come again. Terror is evil. Nowhere in history has evil endured forever. The menace of Boko Haram will surely come to an end. I believe that because of your prayers, your courage, hard work, faith, and sacrifice will ultimately prevail over the terrorists and all other evil forces.
The Nigerian authorities are set to offer amnesty to Boko Haram members. Minister for Youth Development Bani Haruna gave this indication during a special event to mark this year's Democracy Day. He revealed that President Jonathan has already approved a series of integration for insurgents who are prepared to lay down their weapons.
The President Jonathan administration has also declared amnesty for members of the Boko Haram sect. Series of integration programs have been lined up for the members of this sect who will surrender their arms and embrace peace. Let me take this opportunity on behalf of the federal government to call on the members of the Boko Haram sect to embrace the government's gesture and key into the amnesty program.
The spokesperson of the nation's Department of State Security, Marilyn Oga, in an exclusive interview with CoreTV News, has slammed some Nigerian politicians for being economical with the truth and the battle to bring an end to the insurgency in the country. Oga, speaking on the sideline of the 26th Annual Conference of African Public Relations Association in Mauritius, admonished the politicians to unite behind the Jonathan administration against Boko Haram.
That terrorism was novel to the Nigerian society because, of course, you know that we are a carefree, free-minded, complacent people with all due apologies. We are people who enjoy our freedom. We are people who are free-spirited, you know, and all of a sudden, you know, a crime was creeping in and people still saw it as the responsibility of security forces and government. It wasn't all inclusive. People took themselves away from the crime scenes and only sat back to criticize and, you know, castigate security forces and government. But failing to realize that in civilized crimes where terror, you know, is being fought, it took the collaboration of government, security forces, and the people to be able to ensure a free and safe society. For example, maybe a governor from a state that is not of the same political party with the president, instead of discussing security issues, will now begin to talk about failure of governance. And so you begin to wonder, that is all politics to me. You don't have to be in the same political party with the government or the president for you to be able to recognize security issues and treat them as security issues, devoid of sentiments.
She described as speculation conflicting figures attached to the abducted schoolgirls that are being bandied around by Nigerians and advised all to wait for the committee set up for the purpose to complete its assignment.
If we are definitive about the number, you know, I want to know exactly where the numbers came from. Because, of course, above all, remember that as the president has set up a fact-finding committee to harmonize, because, you see, for the security agencies, we had a different figure. The government of Borno State had a different figure. The principal had a different figure. WAEC itself had a different figure. And, of course, you know, the only true way you can say, okay, this figure tally with this figure was to set up a committee. And the committee is yet to come out with the exact numbers because, of course, it's expected to hear from parents of the adopted girls. You know, it's only the parents that can say, yes, I had 2 children in that school and the 2 of them are missing. And then when they put all the numbers together, we can definitively say, okay, it is this number. But all we've been dealing and working on are speculative numbers.
Nigerian Nollywood stars have joined in the protest for the abducted schoolgirls. The film actors carried out a protest rally in Lagos. The latest in the ongoing Bring Back Our Girls campaigns that have taken place in Abuja and other Nigerian cities since the April 14 abduction. The protesters marched to the Lagos State House of Assembly complex where they asked the Speaker, Adeyemi Kuforiji, to forward their demand to Jonathan for appropriate action. In a related issue, a rival group to the Bring Back Our Girls coalition has taken over the regular protest site of the civil movement at Unity Fountain Park, Maitama, Abuja. The group, which goes by the name Release Our Girls, took to the streets ostensibly to join the global voices pressuring the federal government to take drastic steps to secure the release of the over 200 abducted Chibok girls. The members of the group were mostly young boys, girls and middle-aged women, and a few men were believed to have been sponsored by government officials as they were daily brought to the protest site in higher basics. The Bring Back Our Girls group has engaged in street protests, sit-ins and other public acts to draw global attention to the abduction for more than 3 weeks. The 2 groups reportedly clashed on Wednesday, breaking plastic chairs and almost exchanging blows. Governor Aliyu Wamako of Sokoto State has expressed optimism that Nigeria will overcome its current security challenges. He says that the country will surmount current problems the same way it did with previous cases. Wamako made the assertion of the 2014 Democracy Day. He believes that since we were able to overcome the painful and bloody civil war, the menace of Oodua People's Congress, militancy in the Niger Delta, and kidnappings in Northeast and the uprising and killings and the plateau, among others. He says with fervent prayers, Nigeria will overcome the insurgency in the Northeast. The governor says that the democracy had paid off in Nigeria in the past 15 years. Wamako emphasized the need for a united, a peaceful and harmonious country, irrespective of religious, political or ethnic differences, saying that Sokoto State had remained peaceful because all Nigerians in the state are regarded as one. Also, the federal government of Nigeria's declaration of a public holiday to mark 2014 Democracy Day celebration has come under heavy fire as legal practitioner GT Ogunye says there is nothing to celebrate in the day.
As Nigeria celebrates 15 years of democratic rule, legal practitioner GT Ogunye says the current security situation leaves the nation with nothing to celebrate. He emphasized that leadership has been a major challenge in the country.
If those primordial considerations, ethnic sentiment, sectional affiliations are going to be the considerations for voting, then we won't escape from this state of doldrum. But once we rise up and then vote on the basis of common sense of what is going to be in it for the Nigerian people, including me, if I vote in this man, then we'll have made some progress.
On the case of incessant bomb attacks, a journalist, Abib Aruno, charges all Nigerians to be vigilant and not make security a government exclusive, adding that the media should contribute positively to the war on terror.
Don't forget that it was the media that blew up this issue of the Chibok girls. The government was not in a hurry to act. The government did not act until 3 weeks after. It was the media that was blowing it up, that was making it a public issue, that put it in the public space. So the government was forced to act.
Reeling out solutions to the myriads of challenges facing the country, GT Ogunye admonished Nigerians not to abandon the nation's democratic struggle.
People fought hard for democracy for a reason. And the reason why they fought so hard was because they thought that they were going to bring development about in a corporate existence and in their personal lives. 50 years on, we can say that. And to make it worse, our people are now dying much more than they were dying before.
May 29, 1999 marks a remarkable day for Nigeria. Omotayo Alo, CoreTV News, Lagos.
15 years after the present democratic dispensation took off, Nigerians in their large number says they are yet to experience the much expected dividends. Our Ekiti State correspondent Rashid was on an interactive forum by young leaders in Ado Ekiti put together to mark Democracy Day. His reports.
Throughout the world, the practice of democracy is generally accepted as a form of government that guarantees development and respect for fundamental human rights. Many countries regarded as communist blocs are now embracing democracy, thus making this form of government most popular around the world. For individuals who have witnessed the repressive military rule in Nigeria, the worst democratic government is better than the best military rule. By this definition, Nigerian civil rule is democratic dividends on its own.
When we are under the military, Nigeria cannot stay within 2 or 3 years without a coup d'etat. Nigeria cannot stay within 2 or 3 years without instability. But what we have witnessed for the past 15 years, democracy is at work in Nigeria.
For younger generations, especially those born after the country's transition to civil rule, Nigeria's democracy is yet to yield positive results.
Dividends of democracy, an instrument to nation building. So manifesting dividends of democracy will be a great character to nation building.
It's a good thing we are celebrating democracy today. So it's a great thing. We really appreciate the government, that we want the government to do more for us. Like to meet all our needs, not just promises without fulfilling it, but to fulfill all the promises the youth requires from them.
The youth in an interactive session believed that change in leadership style is the only way to have dividend of democracy, hence learning the new way of leadership.
The day that the enslaved was being free. This was the day that we as citizens, our voice was being heard as a nation of this world. If we don't learn leadership today, we don't know where we will become tomorrow. We don't know where we will stand tomorrow. That's why we are learning today, so that when we get into leadership, every one of us will be able to manifest dividends of democracy.
Laudu Omoshilari, however, believed that leadership style is not a problem, but lack of support from Nigerians for leaders' initiative.
I would say that Nigerians laying their hands on democracy, after 3, 4, 5 years, it crumbles. But for this one we have been, it has been a little bit stable. So let us join our hands together with the national leaders so that democracy will continue to be stabilized in our nation.
By the year 2018, children born in 1999, the year Nigeria returned to democratic rule, will be eligible to vote, meaning that they never experienced what military rule is all about. The question now is, what will be the history that we are going to tell them if we do not get it so right 15 years after getting back to democratic dispensation? Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado-Ekiti.
The responsible use of social media has been described as a boost to information dissemination across the world. This was part of the highlights of deliberations at the third day of the African Public Relations Association APRA 2014 conference holding in Port Louis, Mauritius. Bulomo Adekule has details.
The ongoing All Africa Public Relations Association Conference 2014 has provided the platform for public relations agencies across Africa to strategize on how to maximize potentials within the continent to bring about success in their area of specializations and the ultimate growth of the industry. Speaking on the second day theme of the conference, Digital Media, the Undisputable Future of Public Relations, Adekunle Ayeni, Chief Executive Officer for Black House Media Nigeria, and Loic Forget of La Sentinelle of Mauritius, says social media appears to be the fastest way to reach a larger audience across the globe and encouraged public relations practitioners to take advantage of its effectiveness to showcase their services.
We need to understand that mobile is king. It's king today, it's king tomorrow. He will be king for a long time. We need to build advocates for our brands on this platform. Someone said something very, very fantastic here yesterday that you don't even know if the people tweeting or speaking have a stake. They've probably been paid also. I can assure you that, for example, in Nigeria, in the social media space, there are camps and there are cliques. There are people who are in bed with some people, and you won't know.
Digital opens a global reach instantaneously. Instantaneously, anybody from anywhere across the world can refer to what you're looking at, when you're looking at it, when you're pushing it, and can refer to it for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. It is there. It's never going to go away. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, these are all platforms that can drive content instantly that we use on ground to distribute our information, our news. And in terms of PR, I think this is vital.
The call from some quarters to have social media content regulated by government received heavy knocks from Ayeni, who emphasizes that it will be of no use.
There's nothing wrong with opposition using social media. Opposition is a good thing. We keep seeing it as a bad thing. Opposition helps a government in power to stay on its toes and make sure that they stay true to their manifesto, that they deliver what they need to deliver. Opposition is not supposed to be a detraction. It should be a reminder that, guys, you've not done this, you promised this, you promised that. So I've got nothing against opposition.
A statement credited to Marilyn Oga, spokesman for the Department of State Security Service Nigeria, indicating that most media organizations in the country are owned by members of the opposition who use them to discredit government's programs, drew Ayeni's ire, who argued that it is a good development.
You cannot regulate the media. What needs to be done is people need to understand that you must say and do what you do within the confines of the law. Being on Twitter, being on Facebook, being on Instagram, being on LinkedIn is not an excuse to break the laws of Nigeria. If the president just gave a speech and I'm not impressed, then I'm free to say it without crossing the lines.
The social media has provided a faster platform of reaching out to millions across the world. However, it has recorded several abuses in recent times. Delegates to this APRA workshop have had fruitful deliberations on how a serious responsibility is heaped on the shoulders of operators of social media and how to responsibly maximize the uses of this form of communication. Bulomo Adekule, CoreTV News, Mauritius.
Coming right after the break, ex-army chief Abdel Fattah Sisi is assured of an overwhelming victory in Egyptian presidential elections, securing 9.2% of the total vote. Well, more and details after this timeout. Stay with us.
CoreTV News, expanding your view. CoreTV News now provide a platform for live coverage of political rallies and electioneering campaign from anywhere in Nigeria. Political news stories, political editorial reviews, political discussions, personality profile, People's Parliament from the National, State and Local Government Assembly. Contact us now on 0803-471-8550 or 0803-724-9733. 01453-3407.
Our 24-hour news station.
Glad to have you back on CoreTV News on the hour. For more information on our news and other programs, visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/CoreTV News. And you can also follow us on Twitter at CoreTV News NG. And also on YouTube, www.youtube.com/CoreTV Space News. Outside Nigeria now, ex-Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is assured of an overwhelming victory and achieves a presidential election, securing 96.2% of the vote, with most of the ballots counted. At least 21 million voters choose the retired field marshal who deposed President Mohamed Morsi last July. Ballots have been counted from 312 of 352 counting stations. His victory had never been in doubt, with the main Islamic opposition crushed since Morsi's ouster. Sisi's only electoral rival, lefties Hamdi Sabahi, received 3.8% of the votes counted. Sisi rode on a wave of support for a potential strongman who can restore stability after several years of crisis. Hundreds of his supporters took to the streets waving Egyptian flags, setting off fireworks and honking car horns. Pro-Russia rebels have shot down a Ukrainian helicopter, killing 12 soldiers, including a general, in one of the biggest setbacks in Kiev's 7-week campaign against insurgents in the separatist east. The insurgents' success dealt a heavy blow to President-elect Petro Poroshenko's repeated promise to quickly stamp out a conflict that has threatened the very survival of the splintered ex-Soviet state. Separatists had earlier confirmed that they were holding 4 unarmed European monitors not far from where the helicopters were shot out of the sky with sophisticated surface-to-air missiles. Fresh fighting is reported across large swathes of eastern Ukraine's Rostov, as the violence that has already claimed more than 200 lives continued unabated. A separatist spokesman says the helicopter was downed in a fierce battle that was still raging on the southern outskirts of Slaviansk. Well, and that has been our package at this hour. Many thanks for watching. I am Frank Omalape. I'll see you again.